All right, I think we can go ahead and get started. And some more people may trickle in, but thank you guys for coming. Thanks for being here. I'm excited to share this information with you. Before we get started, I want to share our podcast, Shoestring. And if you haven't checked it out yet, please do. And if you like it, please subscribe and rate it. The podcast is where we talk to small businesses, find out more about what their challenges are. And then at Simple Texting, our marketing team actually goes in and offers free marketing help. And then we present those ideas to the small business owner and see what happens. So we definitely encourage you to take a listen. And at the end of every episode, there's a phone number. So if you want to possibly be featured on an upcoming episode, we encourage you to text that number and get in touch with us. Let me see how I can change sorry, everyone. There we go. All right, just so we can make sure we're in the right place, this is the webinar. It's going to answer the question, is your SMS marketing working? And we will find out with what I'm calling the walk, run, sprint method. I'm your host. I'm Danny Henyon. I'm content marketing specialist here at Simple Texting. And I work with Alfredo, who's also on the call here, helping to monitor the chat and help us with any technical things should anything go wrong. So let's see. Okay, there we go. Just to give you a little rundown of where we're headed today, the first thing we'll talk about is why this is even important. Why are we even talking about tracking your marketing efforts? And then I'll just quickly share those 3 benefits. We'll talk about this framework. It's very customizable. It's very approachable, I hope, for everyone. You can adapt it to your business and to your schedule. And then we'll talk about how to actually use the data that you gather. And we'll go into Simple Texting briefly, so I can show you where to actually get the data to use this framework. If you have any questions at any point, please drop them in the chat, and I will be answering questions at the end, maybe a couple in the middle if we have time and they're quick. So if you don't mind, in a sentence or so, let me know in the chat what your business does. What do you sell? What's your service? Just so I can get an idea of who's here and tailor this discussion to your business type. All right, I'm seeing real estate investing, QSR, gym. This is very, very varied. I love this. Personal injury law firm, surf and skate shop, very fun. Okay, awesome. This is great. A lot of different types of businesses here. And I also have a poll for everybody. If you can let me know, are you currently tracking and measuring your SMS marketing strategy? And you can drop A, B, or C in the chat. Yes, A is yes, I have a system in place. It works for me. B is yes, but I don't know what to do with the data. C is no, but I feel like I should. Okay, I'm seeing some B's and C's. That's why we're here. And even if you're an A, hopefully you'll get something from this and you'll learn something new as well. Okay, awesome. So like I said, I mean, we're all here, so we all know that this is probably an important topic, but just to be on the same page about why we're even talking about this, measuring your SMS marketing can first of all tell you how it's affecting your business goals. Is it actually moving the needle towards sales or event attendance or whatever your goal may be? And then it can save you time every month. You know, you're already taking time out to write these text messages and schedule them, monitor your inbox. You're already doing those things, but are they the right things to do? So the data that we're going to talk about today, or the metrics we'll talk about, can help you to figure out if you're making the right decisions in your SMS marketing strategy. And then similarly, it can show you what to do next. What's the next thing you need to do? Do I need to tweak something? Do I need to keep doing what I'm doing? What's the next step in my strategy? So like I said, we've got the walk, run, sprint framework. I love a good framework. This is meant to be very customizable. You can pick and choose the metrics that make the most sense for your business, because nobody has time for a ton of spreadsheets and hours of analytics. This is something to give you useful data every week, every month, every quarter, whatever you decide. So the first phase here is the walk phase, and this is answering questions like, is your contact list growing? Are contacts actually interacting with your texts? And we'll use these metrics below, subscriber growth rate, click-through rate, and response rate. I'll go through those in more detail shortly about what they actually are, but we'll use those to answer those questions. The run phase is answering the questions, how engaged are my contacts, and are there any deliverability issues with my message? Again, we'll go through these in more detail, but deliverability can be one of those sneaky things that can keep people from actually seeing your message. So we'll go through delivery rate and unsubscribe rate for these. And then with the sprint phase, we are looking at, is this actually contributing to your business goals? Is it actually getting you sales? Is it actually getting you more attendees at your next event? Is it getting you sales leads, for instance? And we'll look at some cool examples of how people, our customers actually are using channel-specific promo codes. And I'll explain more about those. And then UTM parameters to get more data, more useful data in their Google Analytics account. So, like I mentioned, the first one is the walk phase. Let's take a look first at subscriber growth rate. And this will essentially just tell you, is your contact list growing? And there's a formula here. I'll be sending out the recording and the slides, so don't feel like you have to scribble everything down in detail. But this is new subscribers divided by your total subscribers minus your new subscribers. Multiply that by 100, you get your subscriber growth rate. And I'll show you at the end where you pull some of this data in your SimpleTexting account. If you caught our last webinar, Alfredo, who's on the call, hosted it. We actually talked about the 3 levers of successful SMS list growth. So if you see that your growth rate is declining or it's stagnant and you think it should be higher, there are 3 things that you can do. And of course, he went through these in more detail, but just very quickly, you can look at what you're offering. Are you offering people something that's enticing, like sign up for my list and get a valuable coupon or insights or advice, things like that? And then how you actually promote it. Are you getting the word out? Do people even know that you offer text messaging? Do they know that they can get that special and valuable thing through your text messages? And then look at what you send. Are you actually engaging people, or is it something that people want from you? Do they want promo codes? Do they want you to send newsletters? Do they want pictures, things like that? So next we have the click-through rate, and that is very simply how many people have clicked on your link. This is data that you can get in SimpleTexting if you use, and this is links over divided by messages delivered, successfully delivered, multiplied by 100. If you use the link shortener in SimpleTexting, you can get this data automatically in your analytics report. That's something I see pretty often, people not using this, and then they don't get that click data. But if you go into your campaign and you're creating a campaign, you can highlight the link and then click the shorten URLs button, and it'll automatically shorten that for you, and it'll appear in your analytics dashboard. So there are so many reasons why somebody may or may not click on the links in your text. If you're looking at your text and you're like, what could I do to get more people to click on this link? I have an example here. It's based on one I've actually seen from a customer. It says it's not too late to make New Year's Eve plans, and then it has the trackable link. And this is short and sweet, but it doesn't really tell me when I click on that link, what am I getting? Am I getting a reservation page? Am I getting a menu? What is this? So what I would probably suggest here is adding an image, if it's a visual business that you have, there's some, of course, businesses like I saw personal injury law firm. So that may not be as visual of a business as maybe the surf shop that we saw. But if you have something that could warrant a visual, include it, see what happens, see if it helps increase your click-through rate. And then I've got here, book your reservation to celebrate the arrival of 2024 now. So that tells them exactly what's going to happen or what they're expected to do when they click on that link. And then we have the response rate. This may not apply to every business. It may apply more if you have, if you're nurturing leads and you're generating leads and nurturing them through text messaging, you may want them to reply to your text. But if you're just sending out promos or more so broadcasting or sending mass messages, then that may not be as important. But if this is important to you, you're going to be looking at the number of responses you got from that campaign divided by the total sent messages multiplied by success rate, and multiply that by 100 and you get your response rate for that campaign. And there's, again, like the click-through rate, there's so many reasons why somebody may or may not reply. It comes down to trust at the end of the day. Do they trust you? Did they sign up for your text messages, or is this a message that's coming out of nowhere? I really liked this example. If you caught the first webinar that I hosted, the pasta webinar, where we talked about what types of text to send, you may recognize this one. When I went to this site for TBD Coffee Co., they asked me to enter my information to get a coupon code sent to my phone. And I was like, absolutely, I love a good discount code. So here they're actually making it personal. They're saying, hey, it's Marley from TBD Co. They're asking me what kinds of things I like, my preferences, and they're telling me exactly, they're giving me choices of how to respond. So they're making it easy to respond to, making it relevant to my interests, and it's personal. All right, we are in the second phase here. Hope everyone's doing well. We are looking at the run phase, and again, we're answering how engaged are my contacts, and then checking deliverability issues with your messages. So the delivery rate, and you may see it in your Simple Texting account as success rate when you go into analytics. This is the percentage of messages delivered. And this is messages delivered divided by messages sent multiplied by 100. And that, like I said, it's already calculated for you in Simple Texting, but I like to provide these formulas just in case you want to manually calculate. So there are so many reasons why delivery rates may not be 100%. It could be that people are sending you, or they're entering in their landline numbers and it actually can't receive texts, or it might be an old number that they no longer use. Maybe you haven't texted them in a while. Could be daily carrier limits for 10DLC or local numbers with local area codes. It could be that, hopefully this isn't the case, but it could be that some contacts have blocked or reported your number, and so those messages aren't getting through because of spam issues. Again, hopefully that's not the case, but it happens. And then your unsubscribe rate, this is the number or the percentage of contacts who actually opt out of your texts. You'll see it in Simple Texting as opt-out rate, but in the industry, it's also unsubscribe rate. This is unsubscribes divided by total sent, multiplied by your success rate, and that's multiplied by 100 to get your unsubscribe rate. And like the deliverability rates, there's so many reasons why people may unsubscribe from your texts. We actually have a report. We just published it literally yesterday, fresh off the press. The 2024 SMS marketing report. We put one of these out every year to refresh the data on how consumers are feeling about text messages, and then how businesses are actually using them and what results they're getting from them. So we asked people, why do you unsubscribe from text? And these were the top 3 answers here. Sending text too frequently, it was by a landslide, something that causes unsubscribes. And then spammy content and irrelevant content. So those could be things that you can look at. You can ask yourself, am I texting people that are expecting my text message? Am I sending them content that's relevant to them? Do I need to segment my list by interests or locations to make it more relevant to them? And so another way that you can, oh, sorry, there we go. We are now in the sprint phase. This is the last one, guys, and we are doing great. How is my SMS marketing strategy contributing to my overall business goals? That's what we're answering with these two metrics. I love these examples of how people use promo codes to track their SMS marketing efforts. One way, if you sell things online, you can set up a code. For instance, this company, this is a text message I actually got on my phone. They had SMS US. And so if, as the coupon code, so if I were to make a purchase and use this coupon code, they could see in their POS that I've come from text messaging. And that's a great way to attribute actual dollars to your text messages. If you don't have an online store or an online component to your business, you can also do this on in person. So we have a brewery company that uses SimpleTexting, and I was talking to the owner a couple of months ago, and he said that they send out these texts that say, show this text to redeem at the bar to get a free drink or something like that. And then they have instructed and trained their staff to enter into the POS system the coupon code or make a note. I'm not entirely sure how it works, but they have a field for this came from this promotion, essentially. So it's really good if you do this kind of promotion, track it, see how many people are actually coming through from these kind of deals. And if you want to track this kind of data in your Google Analytics account, you can also look at using UTM parameters. And those are essentially tags. If you're not familiar with these, they're tags that you can add to the URL to help send information to Google Analytics about where the traffic is coming from, how traffic is getting there, and why traffic is going there, or what campaign they came from. And if you're thinking there's no way I'm going to memorize all of the text in white, that's okay, because Google has a free tool that you can use. It's Google's, you can just search Google Campaign URL Builder, and it will create this kind of URL for you. And again, here's all the different fields for it. So if you want to use this, you can use that link in your simple texting campaign, in your texting campaign. And of course, shorten it because this is a very long URL. Then you're tracking it twice. You're tracking the information in Google Analytics, and you're tracking the link clicks and your actual text. So this will send information. And one example would be if you are trying to get more event attendees. And so you have a thank you page on your site after they submit the form to register. So you can send them to the form, and whenever they click through and complete the action and make it all the way to that thank you page, this might be what it looks like in your Google Analytics account. So for instance, if I have a thank you page, SimpleTexting.com/thank you maybe, I can now see how much traffic has made it to that page, has completed that action from SMS. So I'm going to show you really, really quick. You may have already taken a look at your analytics tab, but in case you haven't, in case you're not familiar with it, I'm just going to show you where you can find the data that we talked about. This is my Simple Texting account, and one place that you can go is your campaigns tab. So if you're sending campaigns, you can look at the performance overview. That'll tell you success rate. Again, that's deliverability rate, how many successfully sent message, or what percentage of messages were successfully sent. Opt-out rate, that's like your unsubscribe rate. How many were sent, credits used, and then responses. You can actually click on that and see the responses from that specific campaign. As long as it's within, I believe, 24 hours of sending that campaign. And then if you go to your analytics tab, I'm in the messaging report here, and I can go to a detailed breakdown of my campaigns and actually get all of the information that we talked about. So success rate, or at least the raw data that I'll need to calculate those things. Responses, unsubscribes. It actually shows me the message that I've sent. If I tracked the URL, if I shortened it and tracked it, then it will show up here as well. And I can then see automatically what that click-through rate would be for that campaign. So I'm going to come back over here. We are going to talk just about what do you even do with this data. It's nice to track the data, but there's got to be a point to it, right? There's got to be something that you do with that data so that it's not just busy work. The first thing is just make sure you're tracking it consistently. If you need to set a reminder for yourself, for me, I would usually use my Google Calendar and just put a little note in there every week, every month, every quarter, just to go in and see what's going on and ask questions. Is my unsubscribe rate high for these campaigns that I sent this month? Is my deliverability rate okay? And then kind of diagnose and decide next steps from there. And after a while, you can start to set benchmarks. You can say, especially if you track it in maybe a spreadsheet, or you go back and calculate over time, you can see, okay, my click-through rate is usually 20%, but this month it's 12%. Why? What did I do differently? What can I improve in the next month for that? And so, like I just mentioned, those things that you find from the benchmarks and kind of where you're at compared to your benchmarks, that can help you to adjust your strategy for the next month or the next quarter or whatever time period you're setting this up for. So I can take some questions. I'm gonna real quick put this slide up in case anybody needs to drop off. I know, it's probably lunchtime for some people, but feel free to reach out to me. I've got my email here. You can text me. It'll go to my Simple Texting account. If you have a technical question or any questions about your account, feel free to reach out to our support team. If you've ever reached out to them, they're super quick, available 7 days a week. So definitely reach out there if you have any questions. But let's see if we've got any questions in the chat.
Hey Danny, I can jump in, and hey everybody, my name's Alfredo. I'm sorry I can't turn my camera on, some technical difficulties, but excited to be here. We've got a question from Travis Bedoya, who's asking, what have you found to be the best touch points to maximize engagement and reduce concerns around sending too frequently? I have a question for Travis. I don't know if you can send it in the chat, if you can give us a little bit more detail around your business, because I think this really varies from company to company or from industry to industry. So, right, like an e-commerce store, probably one touch point could be abandoned cart. Another touch point could be after purchase, and then another one can be after delivery. And then depending on what the product is, you can kind of think through what makes the most sense. So if you were a company that delivers houseplants, for example, it may make sense 1 week after to send some plant care tips. So thinking about how your text can be kind of on the way instead of in the way can be super helpful. Thinking about how your text can improve the customer experience rather than being purely promotional or transactional, I think is a helpful way of thinking about it. If you're looking for just like the easiest rule of thumb, in our study that Danny mentioned, which is on our blog, we can send it to everybody afterward. We ask people what's the ideal frequency, and they say once every 2 weeks. I see companies that can send a text every single day and they still have very low unsubscribe rates. So it really depends. But that can be a good place to start. And then you can increase frequency from there and keep an eye on your unsubscribe rates. And if it starts to go up, you can slow down a little bit.
Mm-hmm. I saw a really cool example during Black Friday, Cyber Monday, from a company that they sell candles or, scented items. And they texted at one point, they said, if you don't want to get any more promotions about Black Friday that's coming up, we're going to be sending a lot of deals. So text back snooze and we'll add you, we'll message you again in the new year. And I thought that was brilliant because then if I don't want to get those, or if I'm not shopping for candles this season, I don't have to I don't have to delete, I don't have to unsubscribe and then try to remember to come back later. It looks like Travis said, okay, gig marketplace, connecting workers with clients. So if this is something related to jobs or to gigs for freelancers, I would imagine they're going to want those updates pretty often, not all day, every day, but it's going to really depend on what types of gigs you're sending out. And again, maybe segmenting people and saying, how often do you want to receive these texts, and then have a list for daily, have a list for weekly, and then you can kind of give people that preference. What do you think, Alfredo?
No, yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. I think you can, there's a couple ways of doing it. You can have a web form where you ask somebody, how often do you want us to text you? How often do you want to hear about new jobs? Or if you've got a CRM with Zapier, you can integrate the two and pass that information as like a custom field to simple texting if you want to get fancy and segment it that way. I see another question from Janet Mackins. I'm sorry if I pronounce your name wrong. What's the best way to direct simple texting to my website? If I'm interpreting this question right, and if I'm not, feel free to let me know. Really, it would be including, well, first it starts with building a list, and that's like a whole nother webinar that we can send you. We can send you a link to more information on that. So finding ways to actually get people to sign up for your text is the first step. And then from there, you would just think about what do you have on your website that's valuable, and then include that link within the text. Use our link shortener, as Danny mentioned. That's going to do two things, actually. Number one, our link shortener is approved by carriers, so you're going to see higher deliverability rates. I've seen issues where people will use like Bitly or tinyURL or one of these free link shorteners, which are often used by scammers to obfuscate the actual link. So carriers see that as a red flag. So I'd really encourage using our built-in link shortener, and that'll increase your deliverability rates and you'll be able to see your click-through rate.
And Janet, if you want to share what kind of business, I think you may have already listed it earlier, but if you want to share that, we might be able to give you some more information about how other businesses promote their texting through their website, because it can be all kinds of ways, like pop-ups. If you already have a pop-up like capturing email or offering some kind of coupon, you could maybe include it there and say, give us your email and your number, and we'll send you the coupon in both locations. I've seen people put it in the footer of their site, even within text in blog posts and things like that. There's a bunch of different ways. We also have a free tool that you can use called Click to Text. So it's like a widget on your site that if somebody's on mobile, they can just tap that button. It'll open up their messaging app and they can text your keyword, or they can send you a question through text. So we provide wellness programs for older adults that are free.
Yeah, I would suggest the easiest thing is a text to join keyword. So you can set up, text join or text wellness to this number to sign up for texts. I'm mindful that a lot of small businesses don't have the time to implement something more technical. So a pop-up that just includes the text to join keyword works really well for lots of folks. If you have more time and you want to use our widget builder, which lets you create that click to text functionality that Danny's describing, that will open up the texting app on their phone with your text to join keyword already filled in. So it saves them a step, but you can keep it simple, and just a pop-up with that text to join keyword works too.
Are there any more questions? I don't think I see any.
Yeah, I'm not seeing any other questions in the Q&A either. And I just wanted to give another recommendation to look up Shoestring on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify. We find it's a lot of fun for us to really work kind of one-on-one with a customer, and um, even just listening to previous episodes, you'll find a lot of inspiration for creative ways that other businesses use texting, how they use combined texting with ChatGPT, how they build their lists, with a really small budget. A ton of inspiration there. So it's Shoestring on Spotify or Apple Podcasts.
Awesome. Well,
I
thank
see
you,
we've
everyone.
got we've
Oh, go
got
ahead.
Robert on the call who we're working on that episode now. Thanks for joining, Robert.
Nice. Hey, Robert.
Well, if we've got no other questions, we will send out this recording to everybody.
Mhm. Thank you all for attending.